Hi there and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Amy and I have an unhealthy obsession with Formula One. On today's agenda, making wild predictions about this upcoming season. Not really wild because I did wait till after testing this year. If you don't know, last season I just wrote it down on a piece of paper and I did it before car launches, so that went really horribly wrong for me. So hopefully they're slightly more accurate, but so before we get into the general order of how I think things are going to play out, let's get into some more specific predictions. Okay, so first of all, Rookie of the Year. I'm going with Oscar Piastri on this one. Obviously this season we have 3 rookies on the grid, and as you'll see in my predictions later in the video, I don't think any of those teams are going to be doing exceptionally well. However, I think McLaren's probably going to beat them out over the course of a year. Biggest letdown, slight contrast, McLaren. If you've seen testing, then you know. However, I do think it's going to be a rough start to the season, but with a few upgrades, hopefully they'll creep up the order a little bit. That might just be the McLaren fan in absolute denial right now, and you know, with the whole Lando Norris allegedly punching the wall, according to Will Buxton, yeah, it doesn't sound too great over there at the moment. Plus losing Seidel to Alfa Romeo this year, and instead they have Andrea Stella. It's not looking too good. I really did rate Seidel highly, so you know. On a slightly brighter note, my most improved team, obviously, I'm going with Aston Martin. Again, everybody is on the Aston Martin hype train, and now I am there as well. Particularly after testing, I can definitely see them finishing 4th or 5th, again as you will see in my predictions, which is definitely a step up from where they were last season. And with Fernando, who knows how to absolutely maximize every single car he drives, I think they're in for a pretty good season. Stroll is still a bit of a wild card. Obviously he has that wrist injury, and at the point of recording this, we don't really know if he's going to race in Bahrain. And then most improved driver, I'm going with Guan Yu Zhou. I do think that he did really well last season, and the points don't really tell the full story. Obviously last season Alfa Romeo started off really strong, but sort of tailed off by the end of the season, either being the slowest or second slowest car in the second half of the year. So that's not great, and obviously as they did that, Guan Yu Zhou was improving and the car was going that way, so it didn't really work out too well. But this year I think he's going to do wonders. And finally, I predict a return of Daniel Ricciardo next season, not midway through this one, but he will be there. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do if he's just permanently out of the sport. Now we're going on to my team constructors predictions. In 10th place I have Williams. Obviously they finished 10th last season, and whilst I do definitely think we're going to see an improvement from them, like they're not going to be miles off the pace, again I don't think they've done enough in the off season to be able to catch up with the rest of the team. That added with having a rookie, no matter how great Logan Sargent is, and I think he is going to do better than Latifi. No offense, Latifi. I still think that they will be finishing in 10th this season. 9th, again finished 9th last season, AlphaTauri. They really seem to struggle with these new aero regulations last year, and I low-key forgot that they finished in 9th, because I'm so used to them finishing 6th, like year after year. But no, they finished 9th, and I think arguably they have a weaker driver lineup this year. Again, Nick De Vries, really good driver, but he is technically a rookie to F1, even though he might have won Formula E. I know. I still rate Gasly significantly higher than him, so yeah, 9th place for AlphaTauri. In 8th we have Haas. I don't really have too much to say about them. They did have the 6th fastest time in testing, however, which is why they're not bottom of this list. I also think K-Mag and Hulkenberg, obviously 2 really experienced drivers who are not going to be sending their car into a wall as we've seen from the drivers in previous years. So yeah, I think a nice, hopefully stable year for the team. although that might be asking too much. We'll see. We'll see. Now in 7th, we have McLaren. How does a team like that with the incredible facilities, incredible, like look at it, so much history and money backing them, and yet I'm still putting them 7th because they haven't really shown me anything in testing to say I should put them higher. They did the fewest amount of laps, they were one of these slower cars, and again, rookie. All the stuff coming out of the team. And obviously at the car launch, they had a sort of a really downbeat approach, and they were really playing down the team for this season. I don't think they have upgrades coming till Bahrain or something, which is a fair few races away. So I'm hoping that that might save them a little from, finishing lower down in this list. Because again, last season, if we do remember, they finished, 17th and 18th or something like that during the first race. And then Imola, they won a podium. So they do know how to turn it around. I don't know. I don't have too much faith. A slow start to the season with them, hopefully some improvements by the end. In 6th place, I have Alfa Romeo. They did the 3rd fastest overall time in testing, which is really good for them. But again, at the start of last season, they were one of the fastest cars on the grid, but they just weren't able to keep up with the development, and I'm afraid that they're going to go down the same path this year. I think Zhou is going to improve from last season, no longer a rookie, and yeah, I do think he's a good driver. Last season, everybody sort of put that paid driver label on him, which I don't really think he deserves. And I said that last season, I don't think he deserves that. Also, can we just talk about Bottas's haircut? It's like my favourite thing. In 5th place, I've put Alpine. Despite being the slowest team in testing, I do think they weren't really showing their full hand. Obviously, they have a backing of a major manufacturer in Renault. I think they have 2 really good midfield drivers in Ocon and Gasly. Obviously, I rate Gasly very highly. Who didn't know, he's one of my favourite drivers on the grid. And yeah, I do get some good vibes coming out of the team, more so than McLaren, certainly. Also in testing, it looked like they were doing more long runs with a lot more fuel on board, so that could also explain the slower pace. And obviously they're both going to want to be number 1 at the team, so either way, it'll be very interesting what happens there. In 4th place, I have Aston Martin, probably the biggest climber on this list from last season, and my most improved team. I think they're going to do really well this season, and I think, again, everybody is on this hype train. Fernando, in a fast car. They might not have had the fastest lap time in testing, but they did look really good on long runs, and compared to last season, the team seems to be in a much better place. I think changing that aero philosophy midway through last year is going to help them a lot this season. And yeah, Stroll, a bit of an unknown at this stage, but we'll see. I do think he's going to do a bit better this season than everybody thinks. I don't rate him too highly as a driver, but I think he is decent in the midfield car. In 3rd place, we have Ferrari. This was really difficult to decide between Ferrari and Mercedes, who was going to be 2nd and 3rd, because I do think Ferrari's going to do well this season, particularly at the start. I think Mercedes might be slightly slower than them, but I do feel it is once more a bit of a transition year with new leadership in that team. It feels like we're saying this every year, it's just a transition year. But they keep getting rid of the team principal, and obviously the problem is a lot deeper than that. But hopefully, Fred Vasseur can fix some of the issues in the team. And again, I am hopeful. I do think they're going to have a good season, and it will be tied between them and Mercedes. In 2nd, we have Mercedes. Last season was rough for them, especially at the start. They didn't really nail the new regulations and suffered a lot from porpoising. But by the end of the season, they were picking up poles and podiums regularly. George obviously got his first win. So I do think that they will do well this season. I think they've developed the car nicely. I do think they're going to be slower than Ferrari at the start, don't get me wrong. A 2-car fight for 2nd would be nice. Obviously in 1st place, we have Red Bull. My team, forever and always. Don't really see much, do I? Topping the timing in testing, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez both looking really strong in that car. And obviously the way they did it, Max did a full day of testing by himself on the first day. Did like, what, 150 something laps. No sweat, chilling, yeah. There isn't much to say about Red Bull other than I think another dominant season from them. Okay, now for my driver rankings. This is going to be a lot more rapid fire because I realized how much I talked about the teams. But yeah, I'll try to run over them super quickly, just give a brief sentence as to why I think this will be the finishing order. So, in 20th we have Sargent. Obviously I placed Williams to come 10th. Sargent is a rookie, makes sense to finish 20th. 19th I have Nick DeVries, again put AlphaTauri relatively low down in my rankings. Again, technically a rookie. In 18th I put Yuki Tsunoda, again, but he does make a lot of mistakes, so we'll see, that might cost the team. In 17th I have Alex Albon, again pulling that Williams to places it might not really deserve to be. 16th I have the Hulk, Nico Hulkenberg. I know everybody's really positive about him coming back, but I think we need to remember that he has been out of the sport for 3 years. It's going to take him a bit to get all caught up. And again, Haas isn't the fastest team on the grid. In 15th, I have Oscar Piastri, our third and final rookie. Story McLaren rookie. We're sensing a pattern here. 14th, I have K-Mag. I think he will just beat out Hulkenberg, but it'll be close. 13th, I have Bottas, and then just ahead of him, I have Zhou. I'm putting Zhou above Bottas. We'll see. Again, like I said, I think Zhou is going to really improve this season and finish ahead of Bottas. In 11th, just scraping the bottom 10, we have Lando Norris. Again, I would put him higher, I normally would, but the McLaren isn't looking great. But he should probably drag it into a few more points finishes than it deserves, usually. In 10th, I have Stroll. Again, I think he's going to do well this season, better than a lot of people are expecting, but not as good as Fernando, obviously. In 9th, I have Ocon, and in 8th, I have Gasly. And I think the two French drivers are going to finish really closely together. I just rate Gasly slightly higher than Ocon, and that's about it, really. I know Ocon's more embedded in that team or whatever. I just put my faith in the gas man. In 7th, we have Alonso, and I am predicting a few podiums for him this season. Hopefully, a few podiums for him this season, especially because Aston Martin is looking really good. And again, he can really extract performance out of any car you put him in. In 6th, I sort of, 2nd through to 6th, I think's really interchangeable. I mean, you don't really have to guess who I put first, but 2nd through to 6th, I think these drivers are all going to be really close throughout the season, and it could really just take 1 or 2 races to change this ranking up a lot. So in 6th, we have Carlos Sainz. 5th, I have Russell. I do consider them to be the 2 second drivers in the team, although very strong, 2 really strong teammate pairings in Mercedes and Ferrari. In 4th, I have Sergio Perez. I don't think he's going to be close to Max this season, mainly because I'm kind of hoping for a Daniel Ricciardo return to Red Bull. And in 3rd and 2nd, I have Hamilton and Leclerc. Again, really close between Mercedes and Ferrari this season. And in 1st, obviously, we have Max Verstappen. And I'm not going to say much because there isn't really much to say, because brilliant driver, brilliant team, both on point at the moment. I think it's going to be a really good season for them. Again, 3rd title in a row is what I'm predicting. And those are my season predictions. Do you agree with me whatsoever? Do you think I am being completely delusional? Do you think I want to see Daniel Ricciardo back? And most importantly, who is your pick to win the championship? If it's anyone other than Verstappen, I am kind of low-key gonna judge you. But yeah, that brings this video to a wrap. If you liked the video, then like it and hit that red button to subscribe for more F1 and motorsport related content. And I will see you all in the next one.